Everyone, welcome to a Socialite Production Facebook Live. My name is Johnette Karpeh, and I am excited, as I always say, but today I am truly excited because not only is this going to be an inspiring conversation, this is going to be an entertaining conversation, best believe. So you may laugh, you may cry, you may even be like, oh my goodness. Either way, you're going to get a lot out of it. Before we go further into the introductions, I always like to open up the conversations with the quick word of prayer. So Father God, even now, we thank you for this time. We thank you for this platform. We thank you for these 5 Black history dreamers, these 5 visionaries, these 5 world changers. God, as I always say, let us hear you through everything we are saying. Let us hear you and feel you. And let us stay focused and in tune to specifically what you have for each of us. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen.
All righty. So we are going to get started. As always, I have to do a quick overview of a Socialite production for those who may not be familiar with the platform. A Socialite production was birthed out of the pandemic back in 2020. However, it's something that has always been in existence as it relates to me. It just was not official. The mission is connecting the world through faith, culture, and entertainment. And we do that through authentic storytelling. And the purpose of all of it is to help change mindsets and perspectives, to bridge a gap, to create a stronger foundation just for us to stand on, to walk forth with purpose, with intention. And I'll stop there because I'll foundation just for us to, and that's an echo. Okay. Yeah, and so we're on all the social media platforms, including YouTube. The handle is a Socialite production. Also, if you want to reach, excuse me, the email is info@asocialite, that's LIGHT production. I'm not sure why there's a echo. I guess until I do the introductions, if you all can go on mute, and I think that should prevent it. But like I said, I'm excited, and I say this every time, but I mean it every time because usually when the panelist or the guest speaker is selected, it's not me. It's like it's literally God led me to individuals because they have something to say specifically about whatever topic there is. And so for the month of February, of course, it's Black History Month, right? But for me, instead of limited to Black History Month, I have it as Black History Dreamers. That's like my hashtag that I'm going with. So it's Black History Month and beyond. Pretty much it's highlighting people who dream and who dream big. And of course, usually Black history, we talk about Martin Luther King and all the other past dreamers. But let's talk about current dreamers who are doing it big now, right where they are. Right. And so, like I said, for dreamers, they're visionaries. They see different. They walk in purpose. They trust the path that has been laid out in front of them, even if it doesn't make sense. And to sum it all up, none of these individuals on here call themselves influencers, but they are the real influencers. Like each and every one of them has influenced me, whether I've spoken to them directly or not. And at the end of this conversation, you're going to see exactly what I mean as it relates to that. So as I said, tonight we have 5 Black History Dreamers. I'm going to just call them Dreamers for short, but I'm going to introduce them individually, kind of interview style after this introduction. But one thing I want to call out as it relates to them, this is a special group, and I see why God had me select them specifically, because I believe they all are Charlotteans, right? But they all attended the awesome HBCU of Winston-Salem State University. And I don't think they all graduated at the same time, but they were there, like their time there overlapped. And so it's just something special about individuals that come out of Winston-Salem State. No shade to any other HBCU, right? I'm just talking from my personal experience from all the individuals I know that attend the school. And maybe I'm a little biased, I don't know, because my sister, cousin went there, whatever have you. But it's just a special institution that birthed dreamers. And so I'm going to wrap all this up by saying, are you guys ready? Y'all can come off mute. I just want to hear, make sure y'all ready. Just want to hear.
We're ready.
Ready?
Let's go.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I thought somebody played Pastor Troy just now. I thought I heard.
See, y'all, in my prayer, I forgot to ask y'all to pray for me because they were cutting up real bad before we went live. So, just bear with us, okay? All right, so let's see. Who am I going to go with first?
Go with the ESPN.
Oh, I'm sorry. Who was that?
The ESPN analyst with the mic stand in the glasses.
ESPN, you want to go first?
Say that. He said, "Sport want to go first." Oh,
okay.
I don't mind.
Okay. Okay, go ahead, Russ. No, actually, Quiana. I had called on Quiana. So let me. If y'all could go on mute, Quiana.
No problem. I'll start it off. Good evening, everyone. My name is Quiana Robinson. As Johnette has mentioned, I'm a Charlotte native, currently residing in Charlotte. I went to Winston-Salem State University, graduated in 2004. Almost had a memory lapse right there. I was a biology major, and what I do professionally, I am a dental director. I've been a dentist now for over 10 years, and currently I am in public health. And what I guess a little bit about myself, I would say I am a risk taker. I will try new stuff all the time, and I feel like I've owned the power of saying yes. Yes.
I like it. Okay. Well, that was a good quick overview. I think you may have missed some stuff there, but we'll get into it in a conversation.
I can go ahead and say
no, you're good because we're moving on. But what I do want you to say is tell us something that you're known for and why. It can be professional or personal.
Well, professionally, I'm known as a dentist. I think personally, a lot of people that know me, they know I'm like crazy about fitness. I love health, nutrition. So I would say that in my pastime, I love to do any type of athletic activity and traveling too as well.
Definitely that. Okay. Well, thank you, Miss Robinson. And since Miss Robinson has taken the floor, I'm going to pass it over to Mr. Robinson, who happens to be her husband. Hello, Winston / Wilmo Robinson.
Good evening. Good evening.
If you can first tell us who you are, not what you do, but who you are.
Who am I? A child of God.
All right.
From the west side of Charlotte, North Carolina, from the neighborhood Wilmo, both west side representative, West Boulevard and Badersford. Again, Charlotte native, and I am a champion for Black people.
Yes, he is.
Mm-hmm. I don't want to disappoint you. You said because you will call them out. What else I need?
This is you. Okay. So next, what do you do professionally?
Whatever it takes. So I work in no, that's for real.
No, yeah, you're right.
So my day job is in experiential marketing for a major automaker. However, I have found my space since 2020 in the nonprofit world. I am the executive director of Applesauce Group, which was based around throwing fun and high morale events to distribute and connect people to life-altering resources. And that has been life since 2020. We have events called, the flagship event is a vibe called Fresh. We had a vibe outside this year, last year in 2021 as well. And on April 9th, exclusive, we're having the first annual Queen City Jam Clash. That's a music showcase happening in Gateway Village. We're gonna have a sound stage that rivals any stage at Coachella, all professional sound, and we're gonna let some local artists battle it out with all R&B songs.
That's gonna
it's gonna be a spectacular event, and I hope to see you all there.
That is gonna be hot. And then lastly, what is something you're known for and why?
What am I known for and why? The way I rep. You know, I'm always Charlotte. I'm always fun. I'm always about good spirits and good energy. I think that has been my reputation for a long time now, and I appreciate being in environments where people are happy.
Yes, in one of your posts you put you are a creator of fun or something you said. I meant to write it down, but I love how you described that because it's very accurate. So, but anyway, thank you, Winston.
Absolutely.
Next, we'll go to Jania. Jania, let the people know who you are.
Hello, everybody. I am Jania Massey. I feel like I consider myself a social impact entrepreneur. I am about all things that is service to people and community. So I am the founder and executive director of a nonprofit called Stiletto Boss University, which is a youth entrepreneurship program specifically targeting girls age 11 through 18. And I also have a consulting company called JSM Consulting Now that helps build sustainable foundations for nonprofit and for-profit. And we do a lot with project management, as well as event execution, and just a smorgasbord of a whole bunch of other stuff. Awesome. And I don't know what else I need to say.
No, that's good. I said who you are and what you do, and you actually combined it. So that was helpful. And so as far as what you're known for, what is that and why?
I think lately, I feel like lately I've been known for advocacy, especially when it comes to community events, grassroots organizations, fundraising, things of that nature. I tend to be in a lot of meetings advocating for grassroots organization founders and women of color. Mm-hmm. So I would say that professionally, but personally, I'm always twerking when I get a chance. So that twerk team captain is very true. So I do that in my spare time.
That is very true. She does. No matter the setting, if it's a win, she's winning and she's happy because she's twerking. So just join in. Don't even question it. But no, thank you, Jania. Thank you for that. Next, we'll go with the man with the mic, Mr. ESPN, Mr. Rosice. Tell the people who you are first. Before you talk about what you do, tell them who you are. And you're on mute, by the way. You have to unmute yourself.
Because I think somebody deboed my mute button.
Yeah.
It's all good. No, I'm just playing. So I'm going to follow your direction. So as far as, do you say, tell them who I am first?
Yeah, who you are and then what you do. So
who I am. Yeah. All right, my name is Rosice Batsuli. I'm a native of Charlotte, North Carolina. Like Wilmo's repping the west side, I rep the east side of Charlotte. So I grew up in the Ottawa area for a few years. Those that grew up around Milton Road, went to Devonshire Elementary and all that. So loving the east side and repping the east side, and just glad to be here. Yeah. Now, as far as what I do, Johnette, I get the green light because, okay, cool. As far as what I do, I'm the owner and lead DJ at Ceasefire Productions, which is a multi-op DJ entertainment company that provides life's greatest moments with an unforgettable and stellar entertainment experience. We specialize in weddings and corporate events. We also do a little sound reinforcement as well. I have a wonderful team that works with me. I'm not the only DJ that works for the company or the only entertainer. That's what I do full time, and I really enjoy it. And it's been awesome to see my DJ career come full circle. And many of these people were on the call right here, saw the early days when the dream was to just be a big time, be the next. Well, at that time, Khaled wasn't doing his thing. It was actually DJ Drama, but I digress there. But yeah.
Okay. One thing you forgot as it relates to who you are, and I have to call this out. You said you're a Charlottean, but you represent something else that you forgot to mention. Like you can't forget about your culture.
Well, listen, I'm African. From my Congolese folk out there, Songo Boni, bonsoir, all that good stuff. Yeah, but my parents are African, so I'm a first generation African kid. I speak 2 languages. But that's about it.
Yeah. So thank you for that. Yeah. And then lastly, what are you known for and why?
And I can't run away from it. I feel these days it's more business and leadership, especially as the company grows. But what I can't run from is the DJ part, because of that's what got everything started. And when people see me, it's like, cease. So the DJ part is what I'm known for. So it just depends on the group per se. So a lot of people know me as a DJ. Some people know me as the leader. That's professionally. What else? As far as personally, I have a awesome wife and an awesome family, and just love enjoying time with the family and friends. And I love to laugh, so you're gonna see a lot of that tonight. And
Yeah, he
shout out
forgot
to
to
my
mention comedian.
Nah, just there's people with velour couches and stuff like that. When you see stuff like that, it's just mad funny.
Thank
But,
you.
Nah, thank you, Johnette. I appreciate
No,
it.
thank you. That was a good overview. He sounds so professional. Like, I need to get me the
Thank you.
microphone.
I'm trying to stick with Jania. She got me
You
feeling
ain't got
like,
no microphone though. That's
nah, she came on like a social impact, and I'm like, oh, geez. Let me sound professional so they don't think I just play music. All right.
All right, cut, mute. All right, and last but not least, Mr. Sporty Odie.
Hey, how y'all doing?
John Adams.
Yeah, no, I figured out how to switch it up last minute. But yeah, Sporty Odie, Mrs. Movie Time. I just try to stay as busy as the print on Cece's shirt. I just try to stay. Hey, I heard the little couch shot that you took. I got right back at you. But but nah, entrepreneur, serial entrepreneur, record label, real estate, clothing, and nightlife, father, and I just really listen to what God tell me to go, and it seems like every time I follow that direction, it inspires other people. So I just became a full-time listener at this point.
Yeah, I love how he described himself, but I put the label influencer on him because that's what he does. in essentially, that's what he does. But what else about to say? Oh no, you talked about who you are, what you do. What are you known for? So you said something. That's one of the things, of course, but I'm personally touching on that. You said it's movie. What did you say?
Movie time.
Can you say it? Can you say it the way that you say it in your promotions?
It's movie time.
I tried to do it and that sounded real dumb. So I said, I'm not gonna do it. I'm gonna let him do it.
In your native language, Sport, please. In your native language. Please say it. It's movie time.
Yeah, go do it.
But no, but yeah, no. Oh, I forgot to sound from Charlotte too. Born and raised in Charlotte.
Yeah.
But I would say if you were to ask what I was known for, man, my daughter.
Let her introduce herself. No, bring her on. Let her introduce herself. Hi.
All right,
we live. We live.
Wait, we live. I'm working. No, get a water. All right, sorry, guys. But yeah, no, just if I had to say what I was known for, that's such a hard question. I would say entertainment. I would say entertainment and nightlife. That's what I would say.
All right, that's good. That's good. All right, well, didn't mean to go on mute. Sorry about that. But thank you guys for the introduction, telling us a little about yourself. Now we're going to keep this going on. And also for those who are, watching, I'm going to be looking down periodically to try to monitor the chat for questions and whatever. So I'm not sleeping. I'm just, looking at my phone. So FYI. Okay. So like I said, today we're talking about dreamers, pretty much people who dream. And so I want to just give a real quick overview as it relates to the definition of dream and vision. While it seems elementary, sometimes when you look at the words and the concepts, it does something differently as it relates to whatever it is that you're doing or need to see or say. And so as it relates to, dream, I'm just going to do a high level real quick. Dream is defined as a series of thoughts, images, sensations occurring in a person's mind during sleep. I also say awake, and it's something that's greatly desired. It's a cherished aspiration, ambition, or ideal. And then as it relates to vision, vision is the act or power of seeing. And so I put sight. And then again, power of imagination, a thought, a concept, manifestation, discernment, foresight. That word power keeps sticking out. Because if you have vision, that is power. And so we'll get more into that later. But Keywords with the combination of these definitions is sight, power of seeing, thought, concept, imagination, something greatly desired. And so again, just hold on to those definitions. It's going to be covered within the conversation. But as I said at the beginning during the introduction, all of these dreamers attended Winston-Salem State University. And I know this is Black History Month, the end of Black History Month, but not the end of Black history. But I do want to give a shout out to Winston-Salem State University and just a real quick high-level overview of the school and specific descriptions of the school and the culture that I found on the website, which is interesting. And again, it directly goes with this conversation in the Dreamers. So I promise this is going to be real quick, but Winston-Salem State University was founded as the Slater Industrial Academy by Simon Green Atkins on September 28, 1862. Atkins had an audacious vision to create an institution where every student will meet the challenges of the day, equipped with an education designed to prepare the head, hand, and heart. 25 students attended classes in one room, frame structure, and were taught by one single instructor. And then since then, the university has grown to enroll thousands of students. I saw as of 2019, 4,600. One thing about Winston-Salem State, they describe themselves as bold, vibrant, and diverse academic community that fosters creative thinking, analytical problem solving, and depth of character that graduates need to transform themselves and the world. Lastly, the values, these values embodies their motto of enter to learn, depart to serve. And so before I go into the first question, I think you guys have like a chant or something that says like, choose something. Can somebody tell me what that chant is? Like choose. Yeah, y'all have to get off mute. I can't hear you. Don't speak all at once. Oh, are we shy now? Right.
Wilmo, no, he unmuted himself already.
Like it's choose.
Johnette led us in 3 different prayers. That's not appropriate. Okay.
No, you can censor it. God knows. You think God don't know?
You better set me up like that.
Well, I think it goes, but Jania, can you please tell the people what the chant? Sport, I know you got it. Come on. Just tell the people the chant.
Well, it basically goes, chew tobacco, chew tobacco, chew tobacco, spit. If you ain't a ram, then you ain't shit.
Oh, you gonna get in trouble.
It's like a secret weapon we've always had. We'll go into any school. We'll go to A&T. They might have a bigger campus or more students. It'll just be 5, 6 of us. We're gonna do. It was something that always brought us together, and it was something that made you feel grown as soon as you got to college because you could curse out loud.
Yeah.
So it was shock. It was like we could say that word out loud. You know,
you grown.
Yeah. So that's a beautiful thing.
I love it, and thank you for breaking that down. My sister Tanya, shout out to Tanya who's watching. That's all you hear, and she's very dramatic with it. But you can't say it and not be dramatic, right? So. Yeah. And by the way, I attended UNC Charlotte, but I am an honorary Ram. Mr. Winston Wilmo said that I was, right?
Yeah, homecoming. Yeah, you come to homecoming, you show up. Okay. You even joined the percolator contest, so you know that's your indoctrination.
I sure did. I was all up in the contest like I attended the school. But y'all, I'm telling y'all, homecomings. Well, we'll get there. We'll get there. Let me stay on task. So anyway, I wanted to cover that as far as Winston-Salem State, though, because really, in all honesty, and again, shout out to all the HBCUs, no matter where you go, it's all for the same theme and love of the Black culture, of education, of lifting each other up, right? So it's not pinning one against the other, but I'm just highlighting Winston-Salem State University because these 5 dreamers attended there. And so with this first question, I'm going to start it off with Miss Quiana Robinson. And so I was listening to a song, I should have gotten the name of this, the actual song. I think this is the title of it, the artist. They were singing Dear Future Me. And so it made me think about, let's go back. I know your dreams and aspirations started way before Winston-Salem State, right? but I'm kind of starting at Winston-Salem State. But if you want to bridge for life prior, that's fine. But as a student at Winston-Salem State, what dreams or vision do you recall having about your future? And how does that look today? Like, is it on target? Is it different? Just kind of talk about that.
Yeah, so my dream as like entering Winston-Salem State, sometimes dreams come out of hardship. You want a better life for yourself. I knew I don't want to say I'm rare, but I knew what I wanted to do. I knew the dream that I wanted to pursue while I was there, the reason I was there. And it was bred out of, like, I wanted a better life for myself. I wanted to, I had this vision of what I wanted to do. I wanted to have more time, and I didn't want to live paycheck to paycheck, being a first generation college student in my family. And does it line up? Yes, I've been able to obtain the things that I set out to do. Did it come quickly or first time around? No, it didn't. And some of those things that don't look exactly like the way I would have loved it to look, but I think it's getting there. And keeping an open mind and being flexible it will eventually, I think, get me to where that ultimate dream that I set out when I was a freshman at Winston State.
Absolutely. No, that's good. One thing, another part of that question as it relates to dreaming, because sometimes we have people to help us along the way. Who excuse me, who helped you or what helped you? Because it's not always necessarily a person, but it can be a thing or an experience. Kind of talk about what influenced you in your dreams.
One thing that I loved about Winston-Salem State, as I have come in contact, excuse if you hear like fairy tales, Disney Channel in the background, is I wasn't like the stellar student. I wasn't a 4.0 student or even a 3.1 student, but Winston-Salem State did not make you feel like you couldn't achieve anything. And I've come in contact with a lot of people who went to other institutions, bigger institutions, and they had dreams. And if you didn't have this look on paper, then they would count you out, or like, you need to find another career path. Mm-hmm. And so one thing that I can say, that at Winston-Salem State, if you look like you not even look, but if they saw that you were trying and they were putting your best foot forward, there were people who surrounded themselves around you and say, hey, yeah, you can do it. And they encouraged you. Of course, along with my family, they encouraged me as well. Always kept God first. That, my saying is sometimes that God saves us from ourselves, in the sense that a lot of, if it was left up to me, some of the decisions to make, I don't think my life would have turned out the way it should have. So I think that people and situations were put in my life to prepare me for that next step.
Absolutely. And real quick, and I believe you touched on it, but real briefly, can you talk about how, because you're doing dentistry, and when you were in that field, right? And you were dreaming about what you're going to be or what type of dentist you'll be. But when you and I was talking, you were breaking down the public health sector, and kind of like your passion is even more so around that than the actual dentistry piece. Can you touch on that real quick? Because that's definitely related to your service and your country.
Yeah, sure. Yes, when I set out to be a dentist, I really, to be honest with you, I didn't really go into it to like own a practice. Mm-hmm. I like helping people. I love science. That was one of my main things. Mm-hmm. And as I have gone through my career and different experiences that I've had, now that I'm in public health, this is where I say, oh gosh, this is really where the advocacy is. Yeah. I think that a lot of people don't understand public health. They have never heard of public health. And all of my schools that I've attended have always had a mission of helping, you're serving. And that's what I'm doing now. I'm serving those who are not able to afford dentistry and dental care, providing a dental home. And what does that look like? A comprehensive dental home connected to medical and behavioral health. And also we have expanded into a school system. The COVID has really, how can I say, has kind of put a barrier there. You know, we've all seen the different barriers, but healthcare and oral care was a big barrier. And so to be able to go to the school and to provide those services is really going out and doing the work in the community and not expecting them just to come in and find a way to get in to see us.
I love it. I love it. The way you, and of course, we don't have enough time to go into all the details, but just the various parts and the innovation that comes along with that you're helping to lead, I think is awesome. So thank you so much. I want to hear from some others as it relates to dreaming and, you know, your time at Winston-Salem State versus now. How's the dream related or different? Sport, I think I want to hear your thoughts, your perspective on that.
Yeah, my Winston-Salem State, my dream was just really just to go to the NBA. Like I didn't know how far off I was at the time, but that was just my dream, you know. But while I was dreaming about going to the NBA, I met Cease and Wilmo. And it's just crazy. I was soaking a lot of stuff up that I didn't know I was soaking up. Just watching. Wilmo was a businessman. Like he was young and he had a whole business in his room that we actually got excited about. Like it became a part of our natural life to go see what clothes he had in his room. Or Cease, we would go on trips and he would have no money, but he would have 100 mixtapes. And within 2 hours, he would have the most money on the trip, you know, stuff like that. I didn't know I was soaking all that up. You know, I'm thinking I want to hoop, but I'm soaking all of that up and I'm seeing like, I'm watching like how Cease would like print out his goals and put them on the wall and just how focused he was. And I just learned a whole knack of focusness. Anything y'all see me doing now, I learned it from Winston-Salem State, but I didn't learn it directly. I wasn't trying to learn it. I just was affiliated with it. And I just stole from them. You know, I stole from Wilmo, I stole from Cease, I stole from other people. I'm watching how they doing it. Like one thing with Wilmo would make anything a promotional opportunity. So if he got on stage, they may say, you know, come, you know, lead us in the Chudabacker. When he get on stage, he's gonna say he's gonna do the Chudabacker, and then he's gonna tell you that the Chudabacker is sponsored by the Everything Must Go sale. You know what I'm saying? And it's funny because we laughing, and I'm not even purposely soaking it in. But then when I get back to Charlotte and I see a wide open market, it's just all, you know, it's just all inside of me. So yeah, my dreams were really just NBA. My dreams didn't switch until I really realized, like, you know, till I had lost a little passion for basketball after I graduated. And then my dream just became to conquer the world.
Yeah, I love it. Conquer the world. Let me write that down. Because that's exactly what not only you, but all of you guys are doing. And so you pretty much answer both the questions as far as the dream then and now, and then the influence. You know, I'm telling these two, but Rosice and Wilmo definitely were of influence. And since he tied y'all in, I guess, Winston, Wilmo, do you want to kind of touch on that? Because I see some of your old footage of what you had going on in your room and in traveling. And I'm just like, this dude has always just been just awesome, right? So go ahead and talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, man, what Winston-Salem State did for me was introduce me to different personality types. And it showed me how to learn and how to meet people. You know, you don't really understand how different the world is until you get to college. You know, you grow up, go to elementary school, middle school, and high school with the same group of kind of neighborhood kids. So to meet somebody from the smallest town and county and to see how they are and how they, you know, grew up and their personality types, it introduced me to another world. Like, to be quite honest, I can't tell you what much of the curriculum was about at Winston-Salem State. I can't tell you 5 papers I wrote at Winston-Salem State. However, I can tell you about the rapport I had with not only students, but faculty as well. You know, and those are lifelong relationships that were built when we were literally, you know, teenagers. Even like, again, sport may say, you know, he said such kind things, but it's mutual. I learned from sport so much. I remember one time See, Sport, myself and our other homeboy Brian, we drove 12 hours to Miami in a Dodge Intrepid. And it was the longest car ride I've ever been on in my life. However, one thing I noticed, it's those small, minuscule moments that just stick out to me. When we got to the Strip, I saw Sport literally just stop and asking white people sitting on the outside eating at restaurants, what do you do? How did you get money? And it was just so shocking to me to see somebody just ask for what he wanted to know. He literally just, it blew my mind, but it made so much sense. That's, like, this is a guy who really knows what he wants and he's going to go after it. And when you see that, it sets precedent, because I would have been too nervous to ask somebody that. Or, I would have thought about every reason not to do it, but he just did it. And what that showed me, that created an example for a way I should kind of live too. Like, if you want it, just ask. Go get it. Go find it. Go figure it out. And he didn't even know how much he influenced me at that time in such a small moment. Again, we just moved on ahead of time in our life that week, in Miami. But that small thing, it stuck with me for nearly 20 years. And that is a synopsis of the relationships that were fostered at Winston-Salem State University. It's the small things that build character when you're an adult. Yes. You learn to figure it out. You learn to figure it out with people. You learn to go forward. You learn to take what you have in that situation and make it more. So I didn't have a dream. I didn't go, one thing I say about my lovely wife, she knew, she focused, and she locked in, and she got it. I didn't know what I was going. I just know I couldn't be at home. When they asked me what my major was, I was like, I'm trying to get some money, so I guess business. I didn't know what that meant. I just had to pick a major. So, and I tell people this, when they say college isn't for everybody, I agree, it isn't. However, I will stand on this statement to the day I die. What college did for me socially trumps what it did for me educationally. I learned so much more about the value of people than I did any technique that had come from a textbook.
Yeah. Sounds to me you still learn. It was just outside of the classroom. It was through those experiences.
I learned. Don't get me wrong. I did learn.
Yeah. No.
However, the value added, which wasn't sold to me as a 10th, 11th, 12th grader, was the value you get in a world with other people for your first time having to figure things out.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You said two things that I just want to call out before I move on to I'm going to go next to Rosice. You said the small things, like it's the small things that builds character. And I had made a comment about that, I guess, actually from the Facebook Live last week. Because a lot of times we think we need this big extravagant thing. Sometimes it's the smallest things that we overlook that is the answer to whatever we're looking for, or that unlocks the door to the next step. And then you also said, take what you have and just make it more. And so something, a saying that I always hear is, I think it doesn't matter, but it's all you have is all you need. Not saying that you can't strive for more, but again, sometimes God places stuff and people right around us where we're overlooking it. Take what you have and multiply it. And that's definitely something that a trait that I see in all of you. So thanks for that insight, Winston, especially as it relates to the educational piece, because it's twofold. It's the classroom and the experience that you learn from. Rosice, you have anything to add? It looks like all of y'all just influencing each other. It's just going up and down.
Yeah, I'm just about to just add more names and stuff. But I think Winston and Sport hit it on the nail. I really, when you try to think back to the curriculum at Winston State, and I was a business major. Well, to back up a little bit, when I came to Winston, my dream at that time was to be a rapper and a producer. That's what it was originally. And I had bought turntables because I thought that we can my man, rest in peace, he came and we thought we were going to start a rap group and I was going to the DJing was going to get the music out. But I ended up being roommates with a guy by the name of Al Quan, who was a party promoter. At that time, I only had 10 records, and they were all thugged out. Wu-Tang, Mobb Deep. The only dance record I had was Shine, Bad Boys, and even that had a slow rhythm to it. But what happened was he exposed me to what else that I could do with it. And I say all that to say I came to Winston with one dream, which morphed into another dream, only to find out that my thing is that whatever I do, whatever I touch, I want to dominate. I want to dominate. And what Winston is right. Like, the exposure to other people was key. For example, and in different phases of my life. So we talk about Winston, but when you watch Winston, and for someone that loves marketing like me, he is a master marketer. When you watch how he kind of influences and how he does certain things and his ability to bring attention to things. On another note, sport, like, that's my brother. Like, I'm trying to not get off of what I'm trying to say. Long story short, my dream initially was one thing, it turned into another thing, and then it turned into another thing. So at this point, it's just wherever God takes me at this point, because, you know, I ended up working for 102 Jams and being a radio DJ, but then that was different from trying to be a rapper. And then now I'm in a whole corporate wedding space, which is, I look down upon that back in my 102 Jams and my club days. So it's just, as far as dreams, I think I was fluid enough to let God direct me on where he needed me to go or flow, and I'm even happier. As far as, you know, what Winston and Sports said, I think the influence of what we've been to each other has been awesome to just see people at a distance. And I kind of want to bring in Jania, because Jania was stepping out on faith early in the game. We're going full time in entrepreneurship, which we were able to kind of view from afar, and which was very inspiring, and just to continue to see her do her thing. So hopefully I ask the question. Like, you know, when you got a lot to say, but you don't want to. I'm trying to hold it back because everybody on here, and I remember Quiana was bodybuilding too at one point. Is that correct? Yeah. Not like no for like, but to watch her decide to do that, and then like, wow, like she went and really went after that and did her thing. So yeah, I think Winston-Salem State had a great. I can't really remember what I learned, which I'm sorry, Winston. I don't remember. I'm sorry. You know what I'm saying? It's a blur. The only things I remember was the people that met, the people that influenced me, people like Mr. Franklin that gave us a shot on the jazz station. They were not playing no hip hop at all, but he said okay to me in sport to DJ and do our thing at midnight on WSNC, which they had a real reputation with jazz, so they was not playing. But Mr. Franklin saw two guys that was trying to do something, and he let us hop on radio. Me and Sport put our flyers around campus and listen to us on 90.5.
Please, you got to remember too, and that was something that I wanted to squeeze in. But that taught us, like, we had to get a petition signed. When we went to Franklin at first, he said no, and then me and you, we left. We were crushed. And we were like, what are we going to do? And then we decided to get a petition signed around campus to check. And look, we from Charlotte, bro. We two 18-year-olds from Charlotte. This has been a jazz station since before we was probably born, bro. Yeah. Here we go getting a petition signed. We come back and he say, okay. Yeah. And then we become the first ever hip hop show on that station. Wow. It was little stuff like that, man.
I think I want to say this.
Let me say this very quick. And going through so much, they then jeopardized it all by just letting me and a couple other dudes just come up there and kick it and talk on the air. I'm not a mass comm major. No, should I be there? Not at all. But they just let us talk. We would just kick it. That's the camaraderie that means everything. You know, bringing up that story just brought me to that memory and how I'm appreciative of it now. Had no business being on the radio with y'all. However, it was a moment.
I think that what that has taught me professionally and sport, you can vouch for this. I've always had the mentality, and it kind of messed me up during COVID a little bit because I forgot the essence of what I believe was, if someone doesn't want you at their table, then you build your own table. We've always been one to like, oh, you don't want me on radio? Cool. I'll start my own radio show on MySpace and build a following there. When MySpace was doing his own thing, or okay, cool. I can't get on the mixtape circus, no problem. I'm gonna be in the hood areas of Charlotte, and I'm gonna pass my mixtapes out for free in the places where people don't want to go at night. We used to be out there, and you had to G up. Like some dudes would take your CD and throw it in the street, but you had to be okay with, okay, cool. And then come back, and that one dude was like, yo, this Cease, yo, my man Cease, he had me a CD last week. Go ahead and take his CD and make sure you bump that. Like the mentality of whatever it takes. I use that mentality now in the wedding and corporate space, especially when it comes to me being an African-American man. Because sometimes you can walk in those corporate rooms and there's not a lot of people in those rooms that look like you. And for a minute, like when the George Floyd and stuff happened, I had to remind myself, like, cease. It don't work like that, bro. Like if they don't want you at the table, and they may not even do it on purpose, then you build your own table, but you walk in the room with confidence. And you walk in the room like, no, Rosice is in the room. Not like you're a burden because of so on and so forth. So that mentality has always been, especially being African. My parents came into a country they did not know, no money, didn't speak the language or nothing. So that mentality of, hey, I'm gonna build my own table, and it is what it is. And I'm gonna make this table so popping that you're gonna look at your table and start to feel like, dang, and people gonna start leaving your table. And Sport, you did that with Pod 98. I want to give you your flowers. No disrespect to anybody. I forgot that it was live, but you know what I'm saying? Like you do what you do until you get what you get where you need to get, and that's it. I'm sorry.
Let's pause real quick because I actually wanted to bring Sport in, but let's get, because I want Jania to, it's just so much goodness. Gosh, I just want to keep this going, but it's a good segue to Jania. But before we go on, I don't want key points missed in what you guys are saying. Rosice, you said the word that's been my word for the year, which is dominate. That's what we're here to do, dominate, to invade. And what you describe is you own the space you're in. And so whether they give you a seat at the table or not, I heard a saying, if they don't give you a seat at the table, bring a folding chair. Do that or build your own table. And so when you talk about build your own table, I think about Jania and, oh Lord, I am not getting, no, I am not about to cry. Hold on. Okay, making sure. Jania Massey. This chick, and I say chick not in a disrespectful manner, talk about build your own table when it wasn't even popping to, be an entrepreneur, in the space that she decided to go in was like, what? How you gonna make money? How you gonna do this? And now to see where she is, and it's nowhere near where she's going. So Jania, I want you to talk about what Winston-Salem State was to you to prepare you, as a dreamer, as a visionary, to what you're doing now.
Yeah, I love the brotherhood. Y'all got me feeling warm and fuzzy inside. But for me, I think with Winston, like during the time when I came to Winston in 2001, I had just lost my grandfather. So I was actively grieving, now that I know what that means. And Winston literally saved me in regards to, like the fellas mentioned, just who you know, but just like save me as far as like, I'm about to get emotional, think about it, but just how grief can take you into depression. And just thinking about like becoming a cheerleader, getting involved so much with school, like it literally saved me. And the main reason why I went to Winston was because my grandfather was so adamant about college. So it was like for the person that I loved the most, for him to pass away before I could do it, it was just really hard. So Winston did save me in that sense, but also just, I was a biology major. That's how I met Quiana. A lot of people don't realize I was a biology major. I didn't know what I wanted to be either. The whole thing was getting the healthcare, getting that degree, like that's where the money is. But I knew I wanted to serve people. So for me, I'm very similar to what Winston said, and even sport, and even Cease, like, I didn't know what I wanted to do. I just knew that God put me in this place to be here, and I had to process some things while I was there, but also I was saved in a way while I was there that was very necessary. And I mean, we talk about relationships, but I mean, we really started to build our social capital. We really started to build our tables beside each other. And we all have learned from each other on this call. And even if we learn from each other, not directly in college, we've learned from each other in different parts of our lives, you know, and sometimes it was a good lesson. Sometimes it was an uncomfortable lesson, but we all learned something for each other. So for me, I feel like I really do live by the motto, and so to learn, depart, to serve. And everything that I do is service. I'm serving people literally every day. Even when it gets draining, I am so big on serving people in excellence. Mm-hmm. So Winston, in short, saved me when I think about it, because I mean, you grieve forever, as you know, Johnette. You know, all of us know, you know, when you lose somebody, you kind of grieve forever. But that was me dealing with a really major loss in my life, and Winston-Salem really saved me in how to like process that and still move forward and still see greater opportunities.
Yeah, that's awesome. I have a quick question though. How are you able to cry without your eyeliner running? Can you tell me the name of that? I'm just trying to make you laugh. But seriously, though, I need the name of that eyeliner because, you know, it's not running. You still look beautiful. But no, thank you for that. And this wasn't a part of the conversation, but I don't think I need to skip over it. Whew, this eyeliner better stay in check. But no, I don't think I need to skip over it because a lot of people are grieving, whether it's a loss of a family member, loss of a marriage, loss of freedom, having to wear the mask, just people are grieving. And specifically, I'm not exactly sure who all have maybe went through any type of loss on this, but I know specifically like myself, Sport, Jania, well, your grandparents, but you know, me and Sport lost our mom. Next month, March 7th is coming up on 5 years for me. And it's like, I've been fine, but year five is bringing another level of emotions, kind of like, oh, wait, that's still there? Because you said something key, Jania. You said the person, you love the most is gone. And they're not here to see everything that pretty much they groomed you for. And Sport, in his story today, I was going to share it, but I said, no, let that be his intimate, you know, conversation to his followers. But I really wanted to share it after sharing his real estate deal. And I'm going to stop and let you kind of talk about that because you're coming up on the anniversary for your mom. And like I said, whether it's someone physical or whatever grief, I just want you guys, all of you, not just Sport or Jania, but I had to just kind of tie that in. Talk about what grief has done through your dreams, through your vision, through this process, and how have you stayed motivated through it? Sport, I don't know if you want to share. I'm putting you on the spot, sorry. Are you still there?
You might be frozen.
I think you're frozen. Uh-oh.
I can talk till he comes back.
My seat's got a joke.
It froze.
Okay, we can hear you now. We hear you now.
Okay, you asked about the grief?
Yeah, like I was referencing your story today about your mom and how the lady, yeah, kind of like how you.
Yeah, well, the first thing I would say, y'all can hear me, right?
Yeah, you just frozen, but that's fine. We can hear you.
Mine is too, but the first thing I would say is that my advice to you is the same advice that I received on a day of the funeral that always helped me, is that my mom's job was done. It was time for that. She did what she supposed to do. She gave me the game. She came, she gave me everything I needed. She gave my family what she needed. It was time for her to go. And like, we can't hold people up when it's time to go. Like, she ain't hold me from going to college. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, you gotta let them go. But yeah, it's coming up on 10 years and 4 days, which is crazy. I had a dream about it last night. You know, they still come back to you in dreams, but it's you know, I know we're being real professional, but I had to say, it just keep me on these folks' ass, bro. Like, on their ass. Like, it's such a motivation you know, and I just can't lose, you know, because I feel like it'll tarnish her legacy. So anything I do, I got to go 130,000% in that direction. And yeah, that closing was crazy because I'm sitting down and when after you lose your mom and so many years go by, you wonder how she would look. Something so small. I wonder how she would look at this age. You know what I mean? And you know, unfortunately, my memory is it kind of, it's hard to picture it because she got sick, right? So she looked physically different.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sitting across from this lady at a closing of a house, and I got the house for her, I co-brokered it. And her attitude, Cece, if you would have seen it, Cece, you would have been like, is that your aunt or something? Like, so just, because she's my mom, she was just so Jersey and so just outlandish. And I'm just looking, I'm like, and so I look at her license, and it was the same year as my mom, 1957, when they was born. And so then I just have like a little moment where she probably thought I was crazy. I'm just staring at her like this, just watching her move. I'm like, because I feel like watching how my mom might have been at 65. So that was a story that I spent, that I share. But you know, like I say, the grieving process never ends. It's always something weird. It's never like, I ain't gonna be sad on February 28th. It's never the dates that I know is coming. It's little stuff, walking in Walmart pajama section, and I see some pajamas that she had, and then it just, then you got to go hide in the frozen food section. It's trying to come out like a big dog, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, so that's just pride. But I ain't gonna lie, I use it as motivation. You know, I still talk to her and everything, but it don't stop. And I think when you at with that 5th year is when the realization starts to come that this ain't a prison sentence. Like, you ain't counting down. It's just more years gonna keep going. Like, and I think around year 5, that's probably why it's hitting you. That's when it's like you start realizing, like, ain't nobody coming home. This don't end. It's just gonna keep, it's gonna go from 5 to 10 to 15 to 20, you know. And I always laugh and joke with her, and I love her, but I ain't ready to see her though.
No.
About 45 more years, so I'm ready to go.
Yeah, I'm good. Love you, Mom.
You know what I'm saying? But
yeah,
I just use it for motivation.
That indeed is true as it relates to what I'm doing and just moving forth, and the boldness. Like, that was my mom. And to your point, I can't lose. I can't fail. I gotta keep this legacy going. Jania,
and you know the worst thing ever. Like, you done, like, don't nothing scare me. Like, a yes or no answer, go with Wilmo was saying, nothing. It's not nothing that scares me. I've been through the worst thing in the world. So what you got? What we talking about? What deal we make? We gonna make the deal? We ain't gonna make the deal. A lot of people was like, when I did real estate, they was like, why did you tell people, like, while I was going through it, why are you telling people you're in class? I said, to get them ready. They said, well, what if you fail?
I ain't failing.
Who thinks like that? Like, if I took the class and failed, y'all would have knew just as much as y'all know that I passed. I live my truth because I ain't scared of nothing.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. Jania, do you want to touch on that?
Yeah, I absolutely agree. I mean, it was 20 years last year for me with my grandfather. And since then, I lost my grandmother in 2020 during the pandemic. So my grief was a lot different then because, you know, it really felt like there was no closure because I could not get out the car to go to the grave site. I had to watch things, and I'm older now, so I'm planning the funeral. You know, it was just a lot of different moving parts. But in the midst of all of that happening, the blessings never stop. You know, I raised the most money in 2020 for my nonprofit. Like, you just feel a hedge of protection, and you know it's because you have unique angels assigned to you that just have this special touch on you. So I absolutely agree with sport. It's like, what I got to lose, you know what I'm saying? You gotta keep your foot on people's necks, you know, and you put your foot on your neck, you know. And even now, as I'm going through transition into a new phase of my life, you know, I feel my grandfather all over me because this phase that I'm going into, this is something that he spoke so highly about. He spoke so highly about ownership. He spoke so highly about equity. He spoke so highly about assets, you know, life insurance. Like, I remember years after he died, I ended up finding a life insurance policy he took out on me when I was 3 months old. and he had stopped paying on it. Of course, when he passed away, he was no longer paying on it. But I just randomly found this policy. And for me at that time, I was mature enough to know what to do with money, where I cashed it in and I put it in the stock, you know, because I knew that was the lesson from that, to make things grow and to continue to build legacy. So it's a motivating thing, you know, but I think what I cherish the most is that they're in my heart. They're in every fiber of my being. And I just feel so much supported by just losing such a special person like that, or special people in my life like that.
Yeah. Yeah, but no, thank you. And we're gonna take it up, you know, the energy up, but I could not pass that, because again, a lot of people go through things and they keep it to themselves. And I really appreciate that story you put out, Sport, because people see you and whatever, they don't realize, yeah, that is a part of your story. And you also said, you know, you had the whole fight back emotion. Like it's okay to pause and just feel, right? But keep going. Like that's the message. Don't stop. So thank you guys for that piece that I slipped in there. Let's talk about the blueprint. And I'm gonna, because time is going by, so I'm gonna bridge the blueprint and purpose. And I wanna go to Wilmo with this, because it was something, first of all, you know, do yourselves a favor and follow these guys on social media. Yep. He tried to be, I don't know how he can be so like just big as it relates to the things he does, but he wants to be private. We taking this thing public. But I said follow these guys on social media because they are entertaining, they're faith building, they're inspiring, they're entertaining, right? And what Winston likes to do a lot is spark conversation and challenge people's thoughts. So it was something, I forgot what he posted, because sometimes he posts all kinds of stuff, but this one was related to the topic of purpose. And so he put his own comment like, you know, not forget purpose, but he's not about purpose. He's a free thinker, you know, whatever he said, I'll let him articulate. But what a lot of people miss out as it relates to purpose is it's supposed to be you being a free thinker. It's your unique path. It's your blueprint. But so many times people kind of, you know, describe purpose in a way that seems like it's still kind of like a template that everybody follows. But I want to park here and, you know, as it relates to blueprint. Oh, I forgot about my definitions. Let me give the definition real quick. Blueprint is a design, plan, or technical drawing. It's an outline, layout, draft, game plan, or strategy. And it's a drawing that provides a detailed visual representation of how an architect wants the building to look. And then as it relates to purpose, is the reason for which something is done or created, or for which something exists. Yeah, it's an intention or objective. So Winston, I'll let you have the floor to kind of talk about your thoughts on blueprint, purpose. You can make it specific, personal, or just general.
I wish I knew the post you were talking about.
So yeah, it was a while ago. It was a story too, so it's gone.
I don't know. I wish, could you go deeper in what you mean? Because I don't really.
Go ahead.
I don't know how much I subscribe to the idea of driving towards one thing. Like I say, if that was the case, Cease would be rapping and scratching at the same time. You see what I'm saying? Like, life has a funny way of making you adjust to things that will be better for you, you know? So when I hear the ideology of purpose-driven lives, I want to know a deeper meaning, because I don't want people to feel like they have to, or they're boxed in having to fight for this one thing, because life can be many things and life can turn you many directions. If you would have told me in 2017 that sport would be in residential and commercial real estate, I'm like, ain't no way. His life is driven towards this direction. However, he should be able to make those decisions and lead a life and go wherever he decides to go. Does that make sense? So I don't know, when you say purpose,
you're hitting it. but you're hitting my point, and that's what I was trying to tell you in the story, and I think it was missed because when it comes to purpose, I think it's exactly what you're saying. It's not
purposes.
Yeah, purpose. Yeah. I always say walk in purpose. That doesn't mean it's one thing. Literally every single day there's purpose. When I connected with Sport yesterday, right? And just seeing how he was moving, because we had a Zoom call, so it was a meeting, but this dude maximizes every inch. I mean, every inch, like he leaves no room. He plans it out. And so that's purpose. And obviously he has goals or whatever, but each and every day, each and every second, there's purpose, right? So Winston, what you're saying is exactly what it is. I just wanted you to say it because the way you articulate it is different. And there's an audience that needs to get it the way that you articulate it, if that makes sense. Am I making sense? Is it connecting, or you still think it's different?
Even in the aspect of my wife, I've never met a person more driven, more focused in all of my years. However, to her path to achieve dentistry or being a nationally ranked bodybuilder, there's still caveats. She didn't know what it was to be in public health or a dental director, but she knew there was a goal in dentistry that would take her to other places. And she allowed herself to be open to go to those other places. And that's what I mean. Like, there's never a singular goal.
Yeah.
People should have the liberty of changing their minds, going different directions, and exploration.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. And what you guys describe, especially you, Rosice, said Sport, that was purpose. So while y'all think y'all just hanging out and you going up to the station and Rosice doing this, it was all purpose. I mean, look at what you guys are doing now. And it may not be specific to what you thought you were going to do, but it's directly related, or it built character, right? So I just wanted to paint this picture again, because I think the word purpose and purposes, however you say it, I think it needs rebranding. It's not associated to a title or to the end destination. Like, we're going to continue to walk out this purpose until we leave this earth, right? But it's not an end goal. It's every day. And it's unique and specific to each and every individual. For me, I know what God has told me. I know the vision he's given me. I'm a social light, L-I-G-H-T. And he told me what that means and how to execute it. So today is telling stories on the platform. Tomorrow is consulting. The next day, it may be doing something else, but I'm still fulfilling that purpose of who I am in various walks of life. I don't know if anyone else want to touch on it, but I just think that's very important, because there's just a lot of people out here just running. And even in that, right, there may be purpose, but the mindset behind it. Like, what are you chasing? Is that your blueprint? You know what I mean? So anyway, I'm just real passionate about that. But I don't know if anyone else want to touch on it before we move on.
I think that people, they have to remain open-minded. I know, just like Wilmo said, even with me, it was, bro, when I thought about doing real estate, it was just a little weird. You know what I mean? I had a lot of questions for myself of how I could attack it, how I could be successful with it, but I was overthinking it. Really, the answer was to just be the same person I am when I do everything else. And I told Johnette yesterday, it was about a good 6 hours. It wasn't a long time. I ain't gonna say it was weeks and weeks, but it was 6 hours. I was stumped. Like, I was just laying down like, oh my God, like, what am I, like, is my name gonna be John? Like, how am I gonna do this? Like, well, I just didn't know. But I think what Wilmo's saying is so important. And I think what people, like, what was happening was, I never wanted to be corny. Like, that's just my thing. I don't want to be corny. I don't ever want to overstay my welcome. Like, I can't just be, I turned 40 in May. I don't want to be a 40-year-old promoter. Now, I don't mind being a 40-year-old real estate agent that promote on the side. You know what I'm saying? But I can't just be, you know what I mean? That ain't cool to me. Like, what are you doing? Why are you still in here? I gotta get babysitters. It's not, you shouldn't have to get a babysitter to go to promote. Like, if you got to do that, that means it's time for you to give it up. So, you know, my whole thing was, did I freeze? So my whole thing was just, I always like to just do stuff. I like to be the youngest, not the youngest. I want to be the newest guy in it. And I want to be on the bottom of the totem pole. Promoting became very boring. And I wondered to the question saying how people would take it. Are people gonna understand? Like I said, it was only about 6 hours, but that's 6. Once that passed, I didn't care what they thought. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, I want to do what I wanted to do. And I think that the blueprint to it, the blueprint that what Cease has done, Wilmo, his wife, I swear I want to talk about Jania, but I know I got a time. But I'm gonna tell you, I ain't see no morning for you. I saw a beautiful soul when you first came on campus. I think that you and Miss Robinson, y'all were one of the few of the women that depicted what a real woman should be. Y'all never moved in no type of like crazy ways. Like that's my memory with y'all. But Wilmo, I'm not trying to flirt, Wilmo. You ain't got to look at
Yeah, you saw the husband face, right? The husband face. Like, yeah, you better not say nothing.
Yeah, I see how you was like, sure. But no, you know, the blueprint that I think everybody's laid out is just dedication. Like he say, dominate. That's one thing about people at Winston, man. We don't want to be number 2. Like, and I met 2 people in my life, only 2 that I've ever heard say this. I don't want to be the best. I just want to do my best. Who in the hell raised you? Like, what you mean? You just want to? No, what is this? We gotta be number 1. We gotta be number 1. And if not, we got to fight for it. Because look, last night, I came to the real estate game. I challenged somebody that had been in it 3 years. I said, I will make more money in closes than you this year. I'm gonna make. If I don't, I will buy you a little small flip house, about 20,000. If I win, you got to buy me one. Do I think I'm really gonna beat him? Yes, because I'm a little off. But if I don't beat him, he is gonna extract every bit of greatness out of me, and I will still be the best real estate agent that I could have been. But I still got the battle for number 1. If I come on the team, I want to play Jordan. I want to play against you, not nobody else. So I think that's in all of our DNA. And I think that's just the main thing with the blueprint is the dedication and the hard work. And like, not to keep saying it, but I learned all of this from Cease, man, from DJ Cease. I watched him do it. You know what I mean? And I just think that's the blueprint. Honestly, not even just to us, my man, but Cease is the blueprint.
Yeah.
Before we move, but real quick, before we move on, I definitely want to highlight something that Sports said. And I'm glad you elaborated more on it because everybody's striving to be number 1. There's only one number 1 in each sector, right? So everybody can't be number 1. But the goal here and what I hear out of what you're saying, and correct me if I'm wrong, definitely you're striving to be number 1. But even if you don't make that number 1 place, you're still number 1 because you did everything that you were supposed to do in your power. Now, granted, it's going to suck or whatever, but the goal is to be dedicated. The goal is to make sure you're fighting for the seat versus just settling for number 2, number 3, because then that means you're not giving your best. Am I articulating that right? Or
right? And the thing is like, I'm not gonna lose though. So like, once I challenge myself, I have a problem. I think Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant have the same problem. I'm not gonna lose. I don't care how long you've been doing real estate. I'm a whoop him. Like at the end of the year, when we tally up, I'm a whoop him because it's just in me. You know what I mean? And people they often don't really they don't understand my mind state when I say I'm the best to ever do it. Like I'm the best to ever do it. Oh, that sounds arrogant. Well, no, you can say you the best to ever do it. I'm not saying you not the best. I'm just saying I'm the best. Well, how do you say that? That doesn't make any sense. If you're saying you the best, you mean, look, man, I don't know. I ain't talking about you, all right?
Talk about what you said about, and we'll move on. I'm sorry, y'all. This is just some good points to call out. Talk about what you said yesterday about humility. How did you describe what you think about being humble?
Oh, I think that being humble, man, is tricky. You know what I mean? Because when you're too humble, then you may not be able to lead as much as you could. You may not be able to gather that following. If Wilmo is, if he was humble, like the viewers would not know that he's a person that of power. You understand what I'm saying? Or the ladies as well. And no, see how he just made that face? He really is though. Like Wilmo had us thinking, Wilmo told me when he graduated, he was opening a supermarket. I had never heard of a person say they was gonna open a supermarket. He made me think like, you can do anything you want to do. You know what I'm saying? So I think humility, I'm not humble. I'm not. And people, so like I say, if you understand me, then you understand it. If you don't, then you ain't for me anyway. I'm not a humble guy, because me talking how I talk and giving my energy, it had a high school kid playing in a basketball game. I went to see my niece cheerlead. Came off the court and he said, I heard that you do real estate. Could you help me? I want to get into real estate. That was powerful for me because he's in a high school basketball. I'm thinking every high school basketball player wants to go to college or to the NBA. Me being so loud and just boisterous and just and really being true to myself and who I am, it caught that young man attention. He's probably 16, 17 years old, and now he wants to get into something that we all know as grown-ups. He will be a millionaire by the time he's 25, 30 if he do it the right way. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I'm gonna go to Jania next because she was trying to say something, but just in my personal humble opinion, I think you are humble. You're just confident as well, because I've seen you in spaces and you don't just be walking around like you just, you have a humble demeanor, but you're also confident. But however you describe it is how you describe it. I'm just calling out how I see it. But anyway, thank you. Thank you for that. Jania, I'm sorry, with the blueprint, what did you want to add to that?
I was just going to add that people forget you have to surrender to the process. And surrendering is uncomfortable. Surrendering does not feel good. You don't know what's on the other side. But in what Sport was saying, it's like, if not me, then who? If I don't think highly of me doing it, then I'll never get it done. Mm-hmm. And that's the mindset that you have to have. And especially if you're going to be an entrepreneur, especially if you're out here hustling, you can't sit here and nobody's buying up from you if you don't have any confidence, even if that's B2B or B2C or whatever the case may be. Nobody is buying from you unless you have that confidence. And if you don't believe in yourself, then what are you here for? We all have to believe in ourselves. We can't keep living, and I don't want to say mediocre like it's bad, but we can't just keep living that type of lifestyle. And I think the last time we talked, I made like a comment about, are you going to be ordinary or extraordinary? And it's a choice. And once you make that choice, then you take it to the moon, you take it to the stars. I know every time before I meet with a funder or before I write a grant, I'm listening to Jay-Z. I'm listening to how he made 350, 250 to $500,000. I'm listening to all of that stuff to get me motivated so I can get this money for people that I need to serve, because my discipline is attached to somebody else's freedom.
Yeah.
And if I don't do it, then how are we going to evolve as a community? How are we going to evolve as especially as a Black culture, and with the whole humble and confident talk, like people only say that because they wish they were like you, Sport. And you know that. You know what I'm saying? They wish they had that in them. Mm-hmm. And the only thing they could do is talk about it or, make it this whole negative thing. Just like how people, when they use the word bougie, a lot of people would get offended if somebody said, oh, you bougie. But it's like, look up the definition, and how do we define luxury now? What does that look like? What does that feel like? And a lot of luxury is just peace for people. Luxury for me is peace. That's it. They don't have no money attached to it. Mm-hmm. So that's all I wanted to say. Make sure that you do know to surrender to the process, because that is a part of the blueprint.
Can I say something?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So, sometimes you don't have the blueprint. Sometimes when you're walking by faith, you got to jump over that fence not knowing if you're going to land in gravel or grass. And the reason why I say that is because when I decided to do Ceasefire Productions as a company and I started doing weddings, coming from where I come from, it was corny. No one understood the monetization, what you can do on this side of the fence. To be honest with you, it was not a lot of African-American multi-op DJ companies out there for me to model myself. First of all, I came off of a 2-year break where a lot of people were wondering where I was at, what I was doing, what happened to Cease, so on and so forth. Not knowing that was one of the hardest times of my life, even to the point of me wanting to take my own life. But that's for another time. But I had no, like, when I started doing weddings, I was like, I'm not about to do this. Like, this is whack. At first, I ain't had no blueprint. I couldn't, if we were to do this interview back then, I couldn't, if you would have asked me that question, I didn't know. I just was following, like, this is what God wants me to do. I saw a DJ company out of Jersey that was doing it kind of cool. I ain't have to, wear tuxedos or nothing like that. And it has been the thing that has really, really, really blessed me. But sometimes you don't have a blueprint. My dad has his things, but one thing I learned from my dad, he's such a pioneer. Sometimes you got to go in places where nobody else is at, and some people will try to play you. You know what I'm saying? When you go in that direction, because they don't know what it is. So now you go to the land, you grab that fruit, and you're like, yo, the grapes is big as I don't know what. They got tangerines and everything, and they looking at you like, man, that's whack, man. We good over here. I'm like, bro, you can look. You trying to tell everybody over here. But sometimes you just gotta walk by faith and just allow God to show you the step by step as you're walking it out. And I've always been a really, really big faith person. And I'm not talking about faith in just Christianity. I'm talking about trusting God to the degree that I don't know how this bill is about to be paid, but I feel as though God is telling me to walk in this right here, or or so on and so forth. So just little stuff like that. I think sometimes you don't know the way. Sometimes you just got to take the step that's right in front of you, and you hear that from everybody on here. So I appreciate Sports saying Cease is the blueprint, but a lot of times when I had to make, like, quit the radio station, God didn't say, quit the radio station, this was going to happen. Nah, he just said, I let the radio station go. Like, I got something different. He didn't even share what it was. Or stop DJing. When I made this phone call, it hurt me, but I had to do it. When God was like, call Sport, tell him you're not, I don't know if you remember this, Sport, but it was like, call Sport, tell him you're not, you can't DJ at the Breakfast Club. I think Sport had Waka Flocka. Sport cussed me to slap out. But, like, call Sport, tell him. I was like, hold on, Lord, the party's Thursday. Like, Waka Flocka coming in CIAA, Sport, like that.
The first CIAA.
Yeah, I think he was like, call. I was like, oh snap.
But I always knew Cease was serious, and I always say Cease the blueprint, because I watched Cease hang pictures on his wall, like I said, that said, I will be a DJ at 102 Jams. I seen years and years and years of this go on, and then I remember he got it, right? So he gets the job, and he's happy. And then I remember him calling me. He may have been going through a decision process, but he calls me and he says, I just quit. I said, what you mean? He said, I just quit. He said, they told me to play Sierra, the song called Ride. I remember it like yesterday. He said, and I couldn't just stop thinking that a little girl is out there listening to the radio, and I'm playing this song, and it could influence her to, think in a sexual way. And I told him I'm not playing the song, and then I quit. Bro, the power that was in that moment, I'm like, bro, I seen the whole process. What you mean you gonna quit, man? God told me to quit. I didn't feel comfortable doing it. So stuff like that, it really, a lot of that stuff, man, everybody that follow me, man, I know I got more followers than Cease and all that, but a lot of the stuff
let me mute my
look, Jack.
he just flex.
He's 2 years off. No, but a lot of the stuff is really from Cease's DNA and Wilmo too. And Wilmo think I'm just trying to be nice, but Wilmo's the first person I see host a show. I didn't even know there was such thing as hosting shows. I didn't even know you could do that in school. I didn't know you could be on the mic and be on stage. So yeah, but I just wanted to echo that, Cease. And like I told you, Johnette, I'll make it real quick. Cease, when the coach told me I would never play for Winston State, I would never play ever.
Actually, Sport, I'm gonna come to that story because I want to pull Quiana in because I definitely want y'all to tell that story. And Cease jumped ahead, but it's still good because it's a great segue into the faith piece. But no, hold that thought because I definitely want to come to that story. But I want to end the conversation in the faith bucket. And to people who are watching, you guys, my conversations are usually 90 minutes. I'm not rushing this crowd. So we're going to go over this group, excuse me. So we're probably going to go over probably maybe 15 more minutes. Rock with us if you can. If not, catch the replay, but I really don't want to stop. Hopefully you guys are good for extra 15 minutes. Okay, good. So the last bucket is faith. And, you know, hearing Rosice speak while he's, you know, he can be a clown and a comedian. This is a whole minister without the certificate or whatever you got to go through to get, you know, your minister's like, wait, are you a minister? Let me not assume. Okay. But like I told Rosice and even Sport, I believe when we were talking, when you talk about the church, you know, we all think about the building, and there's a lot of people who are turned off by the building because of what can come with it, not realizing each and every one of us, I don't care if you're cursed, if you do this, you do that, you are the church because you're motivating, you're empowering. Each and every one of you have inspired me in ways that you have, before we even knew each other, you were inspiring me by way of what I've observed or through other people. That's church, it's inspiration, you know? And so when you talk about faith, that's the last bucket. In order to see, in order to dream, in order to trust the blueprint and your purpose, or however you want to describe it, you gotta have faith. And like Rosice said, you know, for those of us who are believers, definitely faith in God, he's the source, he's the one that's steering us. But let's say you don't believe, right? And that's fine, that's your choice. You still have to have faith in yourself that you can do whatever it is that you are hearing or seeing. And so again, got to get my definition. Faith is complete trust or confidence in someone or something. It's a strong belief and trust in God and an alliance to duty or a person. And then it's something that is believed, especially with strong conviction, right? And so I want to go to Quiana first. Well, Quiana and Winston, they can bounce off each other. But what role has faith played in you all believing in your dream? And I want to say this real quick because I sat down and spoke with Quiana and we had a really good conversation about her journey, about her purpose. And when I asked her what she do and to really also capture what she does in the community, I was thinking she was just going to be talking about what she and Winston are doing together with applesauce group and stuff, but she was speaking about the public health sector and just her passion and leadership there that I didn't even know. But even with that, she also has faith in the collective dream, or even if it's not collective, I'm not sure, but she's aligning to her husband and his dream and making it happen. That takes faith, not only in God, but in each other. Can you guys talk about that journey? Quiana starting with, or Winston, whichever
Let me just correct you. We're aligning in each other. Look, we're aligning in each other. So
yeah, that's what I meant. Sorry, I should have said that.
Go ahead, baby.
Great point.
Well, yeah, so when basically as Johnette and I was talking, you know, I was mentioning to her how I never really went into dentistry to own a practice. And where I am now, it was a faith walk. It was a detour. It was not on the beaten path for me to be here. But as everybody had just mentioned, it's like people are put in your life, and situations are put in your life for a reason, and you never know what that's going to be. And as everybody's mentioned, you stay open with that, and wherever you are, you be the best that you can be, and you don't take no for an answer. So we've heard of a lot of that tonight. And so in that's what I've done along with my team, because I don't say that I do it all by myself. I have a wonderful team that I work with. We have said yes to learning new ways and new techniques and doing things. And it has led us to doing, technology and dentistry. That's where I feel like if you keep on a path and you see what's going to happen, you never know what kind of doors are going to open for you. You never know what you're going to learn. And so that is, I feel like faith is like, it's keep on going when you don't see it, when you don't see the end vision, when you don't see the end goal. It's keeping on that path. Just as Rosice said, you know, you don't know what's going to be at the end, but you know it's something there, you know, and you just got to keep it. You don't know why you have that pull to make this decision or to make that decision, but there's a pull, and that pull is that faith, that voice, that intuition, whatever that is for that person, that's what it is. And as far as aligning with Winston, you know, I was kind of personal with Johnette. I said, you know, when as a married couple, when you have the chance to take a trip by yourself and the kids get to go to grandma's house or whatever, a lot of times we renew each other. We have to renew ourselves first. So we spend time, we don't get mad at each other. We do what we want to do for a day. If it's not even talking for 2 hours, because you have to reset who you are. And then a lot of things that we do when we are, especially around anniversary time, we're talking about our dreams as individuals, you know, and then how can we do those things together? Absolutely. And so I'm bringing that, having faith in one another to be able to trust each other, and not only building ourselves, but trust each other that we're going to keep things together as we move forward as a couple.
Absolutely. That was perfectly said. And thank you for adding to that. And Winston, thank you for correcting me, because I just had this conversation with someone else as it relates to purpose partners and like being a puzzle that aligns, that fits in, versus so much the woman, you know, submitting to the head and all of that. So thank you for correcting that, because that's key. And that's what I see in both of you. Winston, you want to talk about your faith as it relates to both of your dreams, but especially like with the applesauce group and just the whole initiative around Blackness, how you just go, just talk about it. I'll shut up now.
Well, in regards to faith, I've always kept me a pocket full of mustard seeds, you know, so there's an ideology, you can pray or you can worry, but you can't do both. They cancel each other out. So if I'm gonna walk in faith, who am I to disrespect God with worry? If I'm gonna do this, or I'm gonna make this approach, if I decided to walk in this light under his direction, it's up to me to walk, you know? So I don't want to insult God with my fears or my worries. So if I'm going to take this approach, I'm going to take this approach. However, when it comes to supporting my wife, I do it differently. That's her walk. So it's up to me to say, how can I be supportive? And just kind of get out the way and do my job to make sure I support her journey. Is a stern difference, because I know on my walk, I can go the direction that God told me to go. I can walk the way, and I don't have to really explain to people, or I don't have to cut out a path for others. Well, I do, but in a sense of I have to lead the way that God is leading me to go. Mm-hmm. But when it comes to her journey, I know she's leading the way, but I'm there to be supportive. Put me in, coach. You need me to play defense, let me know. If you need me to run a little bit, let me know. I'm here to support you wholeheartedly.
Can I ask you a quick question? How do you know it's God? And this is just general, because this is for all of us really, but since you have the floor, how do you know it's God leading you? Like, does he speak to you in a way? Some people, of course, it's audible. Some people, it's just signs. Some people, it's a feeling. For you personally, how do you know when it's God?
Positioning, spaces. I had no idea. If you would have told me, I had no desire, no dreams, no idea of ever being in the nonprofit space. But I've always had an affinity for Blackness. I've always had an affinity for history. I've always had an affinity for justice. So you put those things together, God will put you in a position or a space where you can affect them. You know, you can make a mark in those spaces. I just got, I'm now on the Leading on Opportunity Council. And if you look on that council, it's literally the craziest list of people I've ever been involved or associated with in my life. Literally the president of every institution in Charlotte, the CEO of banks, and this hood dude from Bakersfield. Like, it makes no sense. However, I'm there. And they lean on me to, you know, to see what people want on the ground. And it blows my mind. Some of these rooms I have the privilege of sitting in, that ain't nothing but God. So again, who am I to question that? Who am I to say, well, God, I'm not good enough for that? Or God, I don't know. No. I'm there. I have to make the difference. Yeah. It's only up to me.
That's thank you for that. I love hearing different people's perspective and experience on how they hear from God and how they move, because it's not just one way. And real quick, before I go to Jania, then sport, and then end with Rosice, when you talk about, you know, not caring and walking in your full authority, I attended a conversation. Is it called Creative? What is it? Friday morning?
Creative Mornings.
Creative Mornings, right?
It's actually tomorrow as well, yeah.
It's what, yeah. So long story short, Winston is the speaker and he's speaking on identity. He gave us the heads up. He said he is going to come out to Nuck If You Buck, and he want us to represent. Now, I know people see me and I'm kind of proper and may think bougie, whatever you think. I was like, bet, let's do it. Mind you, this was a room full of white people. And I'm talking about like white people, not white people who know, and white people who have no knowledge of this culture. And he is Nook. When it came on, we all just went, wow. And I love that because he represented who he was. And that's the thing. We have to be who we are. We have to trust God and what he placed in us and where he's positioned us, as Winston said, and own it. So anyway, thank you for that. And thank you for that experience, because I will never forget it. Because
thank you for coming. Thank more than anything. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Yeah, like you're right. It was 300 white people there. So every black person in the crowd mattered in a way that you wouldn't even know. So thank you for showing up.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to another experience like that. But Jania, faith. Talk about faith.
I mean, faith is everything. It has been everything. I can agree with Cease earlier when he talked about there is no blueprint, because it is not. I absolutely agree with that. I literally felt God tell me in multiple dreams and through my angels to leave my corporate job. And I did, and even though I used some logic that I had as far as like, well, let me pay off my bills and let me figure out what my credits were like, let me kind of like the reality part of it, but all of it was nothing but faith. And even now, like today, like I've kind of been a little quiet, and I am a little bit more on the emotional side, because with my nonprofit, Still Boss University, we serve in multiple different areas. So I'm not going to say what school we were serving in, but one of the schools that we served in today, we found out that some of our participants are cutters. And cutters are when young people are intentionally cutting themselves with razors or knives and stuff like that. So it's very heavy, because I am not a mother. I have not birthed anything physically out of my body, but I have birthed something to empower young people. And the weight of that, I bring it home every day, and to know that they do have support in us and with us, and we have unity and making sure that they don't do that anymore. But that is something that is very prevalent amongst African-American kids now, especially in this generation. Now, what we used to do back in the day, some people might smoke a little something or do, people had their own little thing of how they dealt with, stress. But to hear that kids are cutting themselves is a heavy weight to bear. But I know that my faith is strong enough to know in what we offer in programming and how we come with just community in mind and the unity of it all, and just how God is covering it all, that I know those kids will be okay and that they will move beyond that. But everything I do is in faith, even personally. Personally, I'm just shocked with some of the things that have happened, but I don't know if shocked is the right word. I'm just immensely blessed and grateful for all the opportunities that I have. I'm very similar to what Winston said. I am in rooms and have opportunities with like, how did I get here? But I know that I was positioned here for a reason, and I have something of value to offer, and I have to do my responsibility and part to making people more aware. And I also have to make sure that I not only extend grace to myself, but to other people, because we are so confused with what's going on in the world. Like, I'm saying, like, are we coming up on World War III right now? Like, it's so much going on in this world. It's like, we have to have faith, because if not, you will be in a fetal position every day in the corner, you know, just weak, you know, so faith is everything for me.
Absolutely. We've definitely seen you and witnessed you firsthand walk in it. And so, like I said, definitely an inspiration. Sport, I believe this probably going to end up being a conversation between you and Rosice, but we're going to end the faith bucket. No, because I know the story he's going to tell, which is an inspiring one. So that's why I wanted to kind of let others speak, and then you can go into that story, and then Rosice, you can chime in, and then we'll close up. I think you're frozen again, Sport. Are you? Oh, no, you're not. Can you hear me?
Yo, yeah, all right?
You be quiet, please. Gosh.
I might keep freezing.
No, you good now. Rosice always got something to say.
Yeah. Cease is frozen in a very unattractive pose right now. I wish I could screenshot. So I part of what you just said, because you went mute and my phone just did a whole bunch of crazy stuff. What were you asking me?
No, so we're talking about faith, right? And what you and I discussed the other the other day about your faith story at Winston-Salem State, and how you know, Rosice influenced that with, and that was the foundation of everything. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. You talking about when Cease cried because he didn't get the Mosaic show. So basically, no, but seriously though, man, this kid Rosice, man, he was just something so special to be 17, 18 years old. And he just, you know, and I said this, Cease didn't know that you were supposed to put bleach in his socks when he washed his socks. He didn't know that. So like, his socks would never be crystal clean. We always wonder why your socks look like that. You know what I mean? So one day we washed the clothes and Cease asked a real question. He was like, what's that? You about to put bleach in your socks? I'm like, yeah, you got to put bleach in. But I say that to say this. This man didn't know that he was supposed to put bleach in his socks, right? But yet, my journey just wanted to play basketball since 6 years old. And the coach, he tells me to come to his office, and he tells me straight up, he's like, listen, man, I love the way you play, great player, but you know, we just have too many players. You know, you will never play here at Winston-Salem State University. You will never play here. I'll call some schools, I'll contact them, but you will never be a Winston-Salem State basketball player. And so when I see Cease, this guy who doesn't know something as small as putting bleach in your whites, somehow at the age of 17, 18, he knows God on this whole different level that no 17 to 18-year-old knows, besides probably our boy Lex, because he did Bible study on Wednesdays. So, so I see Cease on the campus, and he's like, well, what happened? What did the coach say? And you know, the sun was in my eyes, so I couldn't really talk to him like that.
Yeah,
so,
I'm about to say, you gotta tell the truth, bro.
Nah,
He's crying like a little.
Listen, these are my dreams and my emotions. This is my dream up to this point. My emotions go crazy. I start crying. And we go in the room, and Cease is like, man, I wanted to fight you. Cease was like, man, you gotta pray. I looked at Cease like, you dummy. Like, he's already said no, Cease. Like, what are we praying for? He gave the answer already. And he's like, And I remember he said, no, man, that ain't how it worked. I remember that's exactly what he said. No, man, that ain't how it worked. I'm like, bro, what do you mean? He's like, no, bro, God can change his mind. I'm like, so I swear that this may sound so crazy, but I'm like, change, like, what do you mean he's going to change his mind? Man, God could talk to him. So literally, I'm like, he's going to talk to him? See, he's like, what do you, I don't even understand what you mean. He was like, man, anything is possible. You know, God can make anything possible. Just you got to have faith. And I swear to God, Cease created a monster in that room that day to the point that I have to pump my faith brakes sometimes. I got to be like, bro, you got to chill. You know, like, I know you can do anything, but that don't mean you could, like, you know, let your leg hang out the airplane window or something, you know. But I'm like, because my faith went crazy after I saw what God could do, you know, through prayer and dedication, to when I came back the next year and I didn't even have to try out for the team. The coach invited me on to the team. And so, like she said, you know, he can make miracles, but I think what's key to faith is you also have to do the work now. Mm. You got to do the, and you let God do the magic, because when I went home that whole summer,
I think you on mute for some reason, Sport.
Yo, what? No, you what?
I don't know why it went.
And now you froze. Yo, someone please call 911.
I cannot. I'm gonna take that microphone from you. I really can't.
Wait, what happened?
Froze. You locked up. I'm sorry.
Locked up, froze.
It's Sport, you like freezing in these very model-esque poses that is just hilarious to look at.
And then you start blinking out the blue.
Then you start blinking, and then it just had its own little thing. But I would like to say one thing, Sport. The first game that you played, it was such a joy to cheer for you. It really was. Like, we were so hyped when you made the team, and to be on the cheerleading squad at that time and cheer you to victory. I think you may have made 2 points that game, but
she is so right. She is so
we was rooting for you.
It was big too. But no, that was a part of the process too that I learned as a grown-up. Like, it was humbling. Like you coming in as a cheerleader in 2001, you don't know that I was all conference in high school. You don't know how good I am. You just know that I'm bent for these couple games. And that was so hard to do. But you know, it's all a part of the process. What I was gonna say was, you just can't stop the work. But Cease, that man right there, he taught me that's what got this real estate stuff going. That's what took me to 106 in Park. That's what took me everywhere. Like that message in that room, I tell that story all the time. And now I meet people. I meet some people that have no faith. Like, I just didn't know, you know, how it worked for real. But I meet people that they don't have it. They can't understand on believing in something that's not concrete, or that's not telling them exactly what's going to happen. You know, I just think that I just always commit. I'm in the middle of it though. I'm delivering. I don't do when you on your. Wait, let me finish. Wait, I was bringing it home. Oh, for real.
Okay. So keep talking.
So,
I know it's late, baby girl. We'll be wrapping up soon.
Yeah. These basically and realize I instill it in my babies, but it was very important. It was very important to me. Cease, I appreciate you for it, but that taught me something beyond measure, beyond like Wilmo said, bro, in 2017. If you'd have told me, I was gonna say, I used to tell people I'll never read a book again or go to school because I didn't like learning no more. I went to college, I graduated cum laude, and I was done. I didn't have to read no more. But stop. This is a serious thing. I don't want to see. But no. So, you know, I never would have thought it, but it really is Cease. Cease, you the man. You taught me a lot of this stuff, and I really appreciate you. I watched you. I watched how you moved. I took what you showed me, and I implanted it to everybody that came under my tutelage. My street team, all they would get was Cease stories. See stories. I mean, for a person, and I'll finish here, for a person, we going to Miami. First of all, Cease worked in college to pay his tuition. Secondly, we going to Miami and Cease has no money. Now, we don't have no money neither. We probably got, weirdly, $50 to $75, and we ate dollar nuggets. We kept going to eat dollar nuggets at McDonald's. And Cease has no money. And so I'm like, he's crazy. I didn't believe in him like 100%. I just was watching it. I didn't know what was my. He like, man, I just got 100 mixtapes. I'm gonna sell them for $5 a piece. This is your plan, Cease? Like, this is close to some Kanye. So I don't know if y'all been watching that Kanye joint. Now, this is close. So I'm like, Cease, this is your plan? Like, you about to go to Miami with 100 mixtapes and no money. Zero, y'all, no money. He was in the middle of the street. I'm talking about walking in the middle of the street. I watched people blow the horn, be yo, get out the way. But it didn't matter, yo. Within an hour to 2 hours, he now has $500 and we still got 50 and 75. I seen that. You see, if you watch something like that, man, the world just becomes, stop it. You could be whatever you want to be. Once you see something like that, you could be whatever you want to be. Absolutely. And see instilled that in me. You know what I'm saying? Single-handedly by me just watching how he moved. And really, I know you got to do your faith thing too, Cease. I don't know, where did you get that from? Like, what was it? Was it your parents coming over here not knowing? You know, because I just went to another country and I finally broke down how crazy that is. You done told me that story plenty of times, but I really thought about you last week when I'm in Colombia. I'm like, how do people come to a whole different country? They don't know how to talk. They don't even know nothing and still survive. So was it that, like, what put that in you? Like, how did you get that?
And real quick, Cease, before you go, we have to wrap up in like 5 or 10 minutes. So not trying to rush you. I definitely want you to talk through, but just want to put that out there.
It's cool. Johnette be punking people on the low. Y'all notice that? She's like, hey, bro, you got about 2 minutes. I'm going to cut you off. Nah.
On Steve Harvey, that when she be like, hold on, Steve, we got to go to break. He's going to come back. Steve on his toes, dog.
You know, the babies, they need the parents, right? So anyway.
Well, I'll make it quick. Sports said a lot of it came from my parents and my own relationship with God. Like, it's been a constant doing things that are very uncomfortable. How I got to Winston, I was on the church scholarship, partied way too hard that freshman year. Church was about to pull the scholarship. I said, Lord, you're going to have to make a way because they're not paying for next year. Because I was on probation and everything. And long story short, without talking about my immigration status and all that, but that was a whole nother thing that had me scary. And then it's just been little faith heals that's just been happening all my life. Sport, I don't know if you remember, we were coming out of Greater Cleveland, because if you went to Winston State, you went to Greater Cleveland at least once. Union Baptist or Mount Olive, one of them nights you party hard, you were like, okay, I feel guilty. Y'all want to go to Mount Olive, catch the shuttle? But we was at Greater Cleveland in Sports Chevette. So it's 2-door Chevette. And he locked the key. Huh? Cavalier, my bad. He locked the keys in the car. Yep. I don't know if you remember. And I said, all I had was my Winston-Salem State P.O. box key. I was like, Swell was like, oh, snap, I locked the keys in the car. I'm like, Swell, we going to pray and we going to open up your car with this post office key. I didn't know what I was talking about. We prayed. I'm trying to tell y'all, Sport was my witness. We opened up Sport's car with the Winston-Salem State P.O. box key. That thing opened like it was like, thank you.
No, like, now see, hold on, see. Now I want y'all to imagine y'all watching somebody do this. Do y'all understand now why how I think? He came up with the plan. I'm watching this man say, I got this key, man. Let's pray over this key. And this key, it'll open the door.
Quiana laughing.
Come on, Wilmo. I'm like, what is this? Yo, this
you know, the post office key about this. Sport car key was this long. Pause. Yeah. Pause. It was mad long.
Two 18-year-olds sitting in the parking lot of church holding hands praying. I'm embarrassed. I think this is a terrible idea. It sounds stupid. It's just not gonna work. It's not gonna work. Here we go. He put that kid in the door opens. I'm like, man, don't worry. When I
Word
turn
up.
for real estate.
Yeah, nah, word up. It's just sport. Even I believe that sport. That's why if you remember at Winston, if y'all went to Winston-Salem State during our years we were there, I was trying to be at every single basketball games, the good ones or the whack ones. It don't matter because I believed in sport that much. Like we laughed earlier about him wanting to go to the NBA. I believed in my heart that sport was going to the NBA. Like period. It was not a question. None of that. When Coach did, sport was crying like a little baby when he was coming up. He was a little. He ain't really shit. He was boo-hooing. You know what I'm saying? But I believe that sport was going to play. Forget what he say. You gonna play basketball at Winston-Salem State University, and that's always. I don't. I guess there's been people I've been exposed to, and coming from African parents. I just believe that if you really believe in what you're doing, and you're gung ho about it, and just when you start to add, for me, when you start to add scripture to it, and watching what Jesus did and stuff like that, you are unstoppable. You are unstoppable. And that's been something that I've always carried with me in business and everything. And I appreciate you, Sport, but Sport, you taught me a lot as well. It's been fantastic to see you, man, just everything that you're doing. Like, I'll just say this, and hopefully somebody out there needs that. In 2009, I share this story all the time. I was on my way to take my own life. I was headed to Harris Teeter or whatever gas station that was. I was going to get a bottle of pills. By this time, God, and this is where faith come in. God had told me to stop the DJing the whole nine. That, and people be thinking like God tell you something, the sun about to just come out, you just about to be straight. No, that was the hardest time of my life. Car got repossessed. I was catching the public transportation, living at my mama's house. I remember so ashamed of what my life was looking like that people would see me on the bus in Charlotte. And you know, Charlotte, when you ride the bus, you see in the west side, east side, south side. They were like, hey, bro, you look like C5. Hey, you C5? I'm like, no, my name's Rosice. I wouldn't even be honest because I was so ashamed of my current situation. But it's all because I was like, God, you told me to walk in this direction. But this thing hard. I'm going to be honest with y'all. I think at the time I was making $13 at a particular place. Jania know. I was what place I'm talking about. I was making $13. I had a son. Shoot, I'm gonna keep it real. I was paying child support. My check after it was time for me to get paid was really not even enough to get you a pair of Jordans. Like, it was like, Lord, like, you told me to come in this direction. And this is at a time where sport, you were doing your thing. Like, you were doing your thug this. And I'm watching all my peoples just kind of walk in whatever they were walking in. And I'm like, God, I thought you told me to come in this direction. Like, I'm shopping at Goodwill just to find me a nice shirt. And, you know, it's like, is this faith? This where I'm like, sometimes you don't always get the blueprint. Sometimes faith don't feel good. But God was walking me through that trajectory. And I got past the whole, you know, wanting to take my own life and stuff like that. And God started growing me and leading me. And then it was like, okay, this is why he led me in this direction. And it's fantastic. This year we became the company became an S Corp. And like, it does something to you when what you created in your mind starts to pay you a salary. You know what I'm saying? Once the idea that you created your own salary, and now you can give yourself a raise every single year based upon your work ethic. I didn't have to go in corporate America. Well, I did, but I didn't have to stay there to create a salary for myself. And that was based upon me walking according to what God told me to do. And it didn't look all great at first. It did not. I was staying at my mama's house. My car was repossessed. Sport had a birthday party the day my car got repossessed. I was so ashamed that I didn't even come to Sport birthday party. I didn't even want to let him know that was what was going on with me. You know what I'm saying? But full circle now, it's just like, I appreciate you, God. You've given me something that now that I can create generational wealth for my family. My business pays me a salary on paper. And then if I want to add $20,000 to it next year, I can, and I will. So it's like, you know, faith. And I love what Winston said, you carry mustard seeds. Like, there's a scripture that I read every day there where, gosh, I wish I had the scripture with me. It's about being above the crowd through faith. It's I wish I can. It's the message translation of what, but it is what it is. I know Johnette looking at me like I'm about to stop this boy right now. But yeah.
So I'm glad, while we are over time and people just have to go, but I felt that was definitely needed, just like with the grief part of conversation. We don't know who's listening. And again, I said, this is church. This conversation is church. All of you are ministers, whether it's formal or not. Although I think Rosice does have a formal minister's license. He's just trying to, act like he don't. But no, seriously, you guys, this conversation has been everything that I expected it to be. And I really appreciate you guys being transparent and even entertaining. There's so many comments and stuff on here. I can't even, go through it. But given the time, I wanted to do a round robin at the end for everyone to kind of give closing remarks, but we kind of over time. So as it relates to people following you guys, I will be sure to post that information so they can see how to get in contact with you in your business or whatever else you may want everyone to know. But everyone who tuned in, especially those who rocked with us the whole way through, thank you. I hope that you got something out of this and that you can share it with others. Winston-Salem State, thank you guys for being an awesome university. Continue to produce dreamers. And then lastly, I think I said it, but I want to say it one more time, how all of you have been an inspiration to me. And I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Before we close and end this, we have to take a selfie. I meant to take that before and I forgot. So this computer better not embarrass me because it'd be tripping sometimes, but y'all ready?
Yep. Sport, you good?
Jania, you ready? Thank you. We're taking a selfie. Okay. What?
Hey, Wilmo, you can unbutton your button. You good now. You can relax. The glasses went off.
All right. One, two. One more. 1, 2.
What kind of sound effect
anyway,
was that?
It don't matter. But thank you guys. Have a good night. God bless.
All right, I gotta pick my baby up from the club.
Yeah.
Right. 3 in the morning. All right, y'all, good night.